Okay, hi, how's everyone doing? This, I feel like that was a very slow pre-recording moment. We're all just in our own heads. How you guys doing?
Okay.
Aisha, pep up.
Wait, are we starting? I didn't know what was going on. I was
Well, I'm trying to
confused.
get the energy up before we officially start.
Oh, yeah. I was just waiting. Yeah, the energy is here. I mean, the episode was insane, so there's a lot to say.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone's good. Everyone had a good week.
Yeah,
Yeah, just tired.
a lot on. Yeah, exactly. Just exhausted at this point.
Well, I turned 29 last week, so I'm dealing with that
Oh my
mentally.
Oh, happy
gosh.
birthday.
Congratulations.
That's
What's your
Wow.
Pisces?
that's not the accurate response, but yes, I am a
See it?
Pisces. I don't know what
Oh,
that
that
means. I
makes
don't know what it
so
means, but
much sense.
It
That
makes a
makes so
lot
oh,
of
much sense.
sense.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. How does it make? Let's do this. Okay, how does it make sense? What does that?
Let's do
Okay,
it. Let's do it on
go.
air, I think.
Yeah, what does that mean? Okay, what does it? I don't know if that. How does it
It's
make sense?
funny because my brother and my dad are both Pisces. And wait,
Mhm.
are you a
Mhm.
Pisces?
Yeah, I'm
Well,
Pisces.
Yeah, it makes sense.
it does
So
make
what? How does it
sense.
make sense? What's it? What about the Pisces is accurate for
You
me?
guys are deep. I don't know.
Not the air quotes, already.
Okay.
I love
Sending this to
that.
your brother and dad. Sending this to your brother and dad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you
you do
guys are
give water
deep.
sign, to be honest.
Yeah, you do give water sign. I don't know what it is like. Also, you have a like calm energy. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but it makes sense that you're Pisces for sure.
Hmm.
Just
Okay, I
makes
mean the
sense.
Yeah,
calmness
you're.
is just from the cat, but I don't know
Okay.
if it's a
Okay,
natural
girl.
energy.
Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. Of all the ones.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I call bullshit. I feel like if I said anything, if I was born in June, you guys are like, oh, that makes sense. I don't know. I call
No.
bullshit, but
No.
whatever. You guys have your
It wouldn't
fun.
make sense if you were born in June because what would you be? Also, it would even make sense if you were born in June because if you said you were Cancer, that also makes sense because that's also a water sign.
I'm a
You're
Cancer.
not really helping yourself. That makes sense to me. That's why I like you because Cancer and
So what?
Capricorn are sister signs, and all my best friends are
Yeah.
Cancers. Yeah. See?
Loves
Simple.
it.
Oh, kill me now. Let's record.
Done.
Speaking of
Done.
killing me now, um, okay, you guys ready to talk about the regime?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast, and welcome to the final days of the Elena Vernon dictatorship rule. Joining me today to discuss the penultimate episode of HBO's The Regime, guys. They've both finally seen Dune 2. It's Aisha and Lola Day. How are you guys doing? Welcome back.
What's
I'm
up? What's
good.
up?
Good.
Chill it.
Lola Day, welcome back from Arrakis. How was
Oh,
it?
thank you. It was a beautiful trip. I had the best time.
Did
What
you?
what an
Complimentary.
experience. what
Glad glad you
what a
enjoyed it.
movie.
I'm glad you watched it in the cinema. See, bullying
Listen,
Oh
works,
Akari.
guys.
man.
Bullying works.
Listen,
It
Akari.
does. It does.
Aisha just whispering, listening to herself.
No, you guys, it was actually so amazing.
It's great.
I'm still thinking about it.
But you didn't have a packed cinema, did you? It was rather empty when you went,
It
right?
was surprisingly, and I was shocked
That's
because it was
good.
like a
That's
Sunday. It
nice.
was Sunday at
Well,
like
it was empty or it was
noon.
packed.
It was packed.
No, it wasn't that. Oh, it was packed. Okay.
Yeah, it was packed for me. Oh yeah, because I sent it was when I look during the ads, like the trailers.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Oh,
like
okay, that's why. Because I
right
was like
before
the
it
picture you
started.
sent, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, right before it started, it was pretty
People just
packed.
came in just in time for the
Yeah,
jam.
Yeah,
Nice.
I
great.
watched it last Sunday at like a not a big audience, like a small audience, but it was still like half full. So I guess people are converting people to the religion of Lisan Al Gaib. That's the whole point. bring more and more in. We're all just our individual still guys. Aisha, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I am about to watch La Chimera tonight, which is exciting.
That's what you're looking forward to. You're looking beyond this recording. Like you're like that's what is exciting for you. Like not anything's
Well,
gonna happen
yes,
over the next
sorry.
hour. It's just like I have
Yeah.
She has
that's fine.
places to be.
Yeah, she does. You know what? Fine. Let's just get through this so that you can uh get to the actual good things you have for this evening. But before we do all of that, guys, please, if you've been listening to the regime coverage and you've enjoyed it, please rate and review on whatever platform you're listening on. Spotify. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please also leave a quick review along with a rating. Um, it's gonna be a busy few weeks. Depending on when you're listening to this, we might have episodes on Three Body Problem Out, the
Oh,
Netflix sci-fi
okay.
um which
Um,
you guys know Aisha's thoughts on life. But speaking of Aisha, she's going to be leading our coverage on Ripley, which is the
my God,
new version
okay.
of the new adaptation of the talented Mr. Ripley. What else? Ibuka and I are doing the Sympathizer on HBO immediately this end, so
Okay.
from next
Are
in two
you
weeks time.
Mm.
Yeah.
nice?
Um
Boys
yeah, and
Club.
and obviously I will be back in my Colin Farrell bag to talk about Sugar, the new detective drama from Apple TV Plus. So
Ooh,
yeah,
that's
we'll be covering
exciting.
a few
That's
things
exciting.
over the next few weeks. So yes, please tune in, check out all our social media platforms, just rate us on all podcast platforms, so that we can continue to do this and not feel like we are wasting our time and energy. Okay,
Tell us
let's talk
you
about
love us. Tell us you like us.
yeah, my self esteem needs to boost. Aisha, you had the most I don't know mental emotional dissonance based off last week's episode with the show. What did you think
Yeah,
of this week's episode?
I'm
Mm.
back, baby. I'm back.
Okay, so
I've
what brought you
never
back? What pulled you
been
in?
more back
You know,
than I
having
am
more
back.
back.
Yes.
What brought you back in?
Well, I mean, the episode started with some like fun, bed chatter, and she said something quite hilarious, and she just was just being they were just being just themselves, and it was nice, and I was like, where is Nikki? I miss Nikki. And then we find out where Nikki is. He's having a Swiss miss. I love that. And
Oh,
I'll
Swiss
talk more
miss.
about that later. But yeah, I spent the episode thinking, who's bitch? And I was like, I guess it's confusing. And then the end, I was like, oh, and just like there was action, there was a death. I always love a death in shows, please, God forbid.
Jesus
But
Christ.
in shows, yeah, I like death propels the story. It always helps with a story when they kill someone off because then people cry about it. It's like it's good for a story if you're gonna actually do it. I don't,
You didn't
as
like a
I said,
death last week when it was Hugh Grant's death.
okay, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
Maybe you should just cut all this out because I don't want to wish death on anyone. But basically, actually, yeah, definitely
No,
cut this out. But basically,
I feel
I
like
will.
listeners should grow up. They know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I mean like in like kind of like when I just don't enjoy when they like make you feel like a character is gonna die because it just makes you like anxious for no reason and then they don't kill them off, you know? So um I did think this death was good in terms of like for the story, like for the pathos. The only thing I didn't enjoy was I was just proven correct about the Hugh Grant thing this episode. So what was the point of all that then?
Hmm.
Like there was no
Hmm.
point of all that. There was no point
Well, I
of you
guess
paying
somebody
him
could say that
a
the
lot
point
of
was.
money just to come in for an episode.
Well, I guess somebody could say. Well, it depends. Do you mean of Hugh Grant or of Edward Kippinger? Because those are two
I feel
different
like
things. You
I
mean why
feel
they
like
cast Hugh Grant?
I feel like Nicholas Galestine, or what do you call it, from Red, White, and Blue, and from Mary and George, that
Mhm.
actor that they're trying to make the new Timothy Chalamet. I feel like he could have played that role. You didn't need Hugh Grant
Oh
playing that
well,
role.
first of
I
all, I
love
mean that's
Nicholas.
way too
Don't
young.
come for
But like,
him.
so you mean why
I love
cast Hugh
Nicholas
Grant?
though. I love Nicholas. So
Yeah, I love him
I want
so
him to know. I
much.
want him to know. I want him to know. By the way, if he ever hears this,
I hope he's listening. I've watched everything
yeah,
you've been in, Nicholas.
Jesus Christ. How
exactly.
did we
Shout
get
out
Nicholas,
here?
to
like,
you.
Can we
please, like, honestly, come on the pod. Like, we'll be so nice to you, and just
Incredibly
what the fuck is
sweet.
honestly,
going on? What's going on right now? Can we get
May,
back to what
May,
just happened?
May, I would suggest that you don't even, I don't want to hear you utter a retort because you were thirsting about Kate Winslet this entire
Kate
time. So
Winslet,
let's
Yes,
not
but
hear that.
I am the
literally.
one editing. Anyway, you know, we
One
always
second.
need things to cut out. We always need things to cut out to keep the runtime low. Like, I
Yeah,
control the edits.
don't cut me talking about death. Cut us talking about
No,
Nicholas. Yeah,
yes, I will
cool.
cut you. I'll cut you testing. I choose what I cut. Um, no, so okay, just quickly. So, do you mean like what's the point of casting Hugh Grant then in that role, and not what's the point of the character?
Both, because for
Well,
me
I
it just
think
feels like a wasted character. I would have loved to see the character just didn't need to die, in my opinion. He could have been alive and he would have worked
Hmm,
in this episode.
I mean
I don't
not
think
to
so.
relitigate it. We all agreed last week that we wish the character didn't die. Like that was a
Yes,
unanimous
Yeah.
I agree. No, no,
decision. We all agreed that.
it's because you brought up that I didn't like
Yeah, no, no,
the
no.
death. And I was trying to.
But I think also on paper, I can see the mood board. I can see the blue sky. Like that character needs to die in Herbert's hands because that has to be his like final thing he does to prove
Exactly.
himself to Elena and to get
No, I
into Elena. Like
agree.
that's the final hurdle. And
Yeah.
then you just
I
cast Hugh
agree.
Grant because you're HBO and you have the money and you can. That's just
Fine.
unfortunately how it
I just
is.
feel like I just thought that there could have been more done with that.
Oh,
But in terms of the
100%. I think
grand
we all agree with
scheme
that.
of the episode, I was surprised it's taking us this long to get to the point we're at. I
Which
just
point
thought
is
we would have
that?
been here, Herbert momentarily being almost kind of his new leader, kind of
Yeah.
passed
But I guess
on the
it's her fall,
baton,
right? The fall has to happen at
and
the
then
end. It's the rise and
the
fall of Elena
fall.
Vernon.
Yeah, I
Mm.
don't know. I think now looking back, I still think that could have happened earlier. But I like it. I like that we had episodes of fun. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Lottie,
Yeah. My thoughts?
what are your thoughts
The
on this
episode?
episode? Yes.
Yeah.
Lode
Like I'm
seems
just
more
gonna
displeased.
I'm gonna continue from where Aisha stopped. Yeah, there was no fun in this episode. Well, maybe the carol stuff and like the Christmas,
Yeah.
what's it called? Special show that Elena did.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Oh
say
The
that
TV
yes.
was,
special.
yeah, special. That would be the fun part, but everything else was, I don't think it was fun, especially towards the end of the episode. It's a very big change from where we started the show at. It was it was a lot. Um what do I think? I think there are a lot of topics touched. I felt like sorry, a lot happened in the 50 minutes. The couple's therapy,
Mm.
Nikki attempting
Mm.
suicide apparently,
It was horrible.
the holding company,
Mm.
the new
My guys.
ministers.
Mm.
Yeah. Poor Agnes and Oscar.
Ugh,
Mm.
Like,
I don't talk about that.
I'm just imagining
yeah.
Still
someone
mourning.
not watching this show and just hearing Lolade's breakdown of everything and just being like, "What in the
Yeah,
seven
Yeah.
exactly.
hells is this
Um
show?"
It's like at the end of this episode, like not even the end, like watching this episode, and I'm just like, yeah, Elena is not a good person at all.
No,
Like psychiatric,
no.
like being,
When they left her, oh,
oh,
when they flew
yeah, like
off,
psychiatric
I
episodes. Oh
was
my goodness, psychiatric episode or not, she's not a good person at all. So many things happen in
no
in the episode where I was just like, you were just an awful person.
terrible.
Um,
Mm.
the
I
gift
want to
she
talk about
gave. Oh yeah,
yeah,
go
sorry,
ahead.
continue. Yeah. No, finish
Oh
the
yeah,
gift, finish.
like the gift she gave Herbert, especially when Herbert had just said
Mm.
earlier in the day that
Mm-hmm.
he feels like a weapon for her. It just,
Yeah,
you're not reading the room clearly.
yeah.
And she goes, well, you're not
Mm.
the easiest to shop for. You could have given him anything but that, based off what he
Um,
said.
Do you know what that reminds me
Chekhov's
of,
quickest
guys?
gun ever.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
It reminds me of, do you get any ever watch The Crown? Um
yeah.
Yeah.
you get when Charles and Diana exchange presents and they're equally displeased with the presents that they're given. It reminds
Diana
me
gives
of
Yeah.
him singing at the opera house, right? What did
yeah,
he
and
give her?
he gives her a book about her family's history that he found, that he dug up.
Um, just on
So
that
yeah.
scene, first of all, I love because obviously the gun comes in, like, okay, Chekhov's gone. Who is he going to kill in the finale? And then, like, literally the
Mm,
gun goes off in that same episode. You're like, oh, okay. But I just love I think it's her reaction. Yeah, when he's giving the painting to Elena, just Agnes's facial shots, like the cuts to Agnes at the back.
Yeah.
It's so good. Uh, okay, I want to talk about Aisha's like who is whose bitch point in a second, but 3 minutes into this episode, and my first thought was like, oh, this is not a satire. This show is not in the satire genre. This is a fantasy. This show is not real. Like, not, and not even not
mm,
fantasy as in, like, aspirational fantasy as in like there might as well be
mm,
dragons and elves in this world. Like, this
mm.
world
What made you
is
think
not
that?
real.
What made you
I
think
think it
that?
was so. It was first of all just these guys were having sex stroke dream therapy,
Yeah,
and there were literally rebels marching on the palace.
I
Yeah.
know.
Like, and I was like, this
I
is
know.
not real. Like, this is
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
This is there's a difference between heightened and
I
just
loved it.
not real. And I was like, no, 100%. I was like, oh, we are misreading this show. This show is not. This show is not trying to say anything about like this show is. And there was a shot like in which like times when Herbert is in focus and like these edges of the screen are kind of hazy and it feels almost like it feels almost like a dream. Throughout the episode, I was like, if anybody wakes up now and it's like, oh, the last 40 minutes were a dream, it wouldn't have felt out
Dream
of place.
sequence. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
it would have felt like that makes
It
sense.
was
And I
kind
was
of
like,
short
oh,
like
this
that as
is
well.
yeah, and I was like, oh, this is not this this is not like again, not to bring up this is not Victim Succession. This is not based in the real world. This show is
Yeah.
just seems to have normal people, but this is weird. It's
But
so
you see,
weird and not
that's
real.
when I like the show, when it's doing that at that caliber.
Mm-hmm.
That was my issue with last episode. Like, you are not committing to anything. They committed to
Mm-hmm.
something in this episode, and they were committing things, I think, the other episodes. So that's why I feel like I had an isolated issue with the episode beforehand, as opposed to like the show itself. Maybe, I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
like when they commit to stuff.
But
Like
yeah, no,
this was,
that
yeah,
just jumped to me. I was like, this is a fantasy, not and that was the exact phrase. I just this is a fantasy, not a satire. This is not like
yeah,
this is
fake
not based in
CIA
reality. Because
numbers.
yeah, because I
Wait.
remember the last time I felt something like this was when I was watching, and but that one was like for a negative response. Was when I was watching Promising Young
Oh,
Woman, and I'm
you were
like,
watching
okay, this
it
is meant
for
to
a
be a
negative
satire.
response. Did you watch it to hate it?
No, no. Well, I went in. Obviously, I have to hate women. No, I was watching it,
Oh
and then this is a
wow!
fantasy. Not guess what's getting
Just
cut out.
stop for
Wow.
a second. Minute what?
No, no,
Minute
no.
what?
So doesn't matter because it's incorrelate. No, because what you're promising young women, and then you think, okay, this is going to be like this kind of gender satire or whatever, and then part of it just felt so out of place that you're like, this is not even based in reality, but it never really commits to that part because it wants to be this satire, which is kind of like part of my problems with the film and everything. And here again, I was like, oh no, but they've been trying to tell us. We just were stuck on the fact that it's from producers of Veep and Succession, and like we didn't want to like listen to
I
them.
don't think that's it. I don't think that's it though. I don't think that's solely the issue.
What do you think is the
They
issue?
like I said, I think
They
they
never
wanted
committed.
to, yes, they wanted to create this thing that was abnormal and fantastical and whimsical, and but they didn't commit to it. They just, yeah, they were just doing things that were too adjacent to the real world, and then doing things that are far
You
away,
feel like
and just not, they didn't commit to it. Like,
Hmm.
so you
I
feel like it
bring
was
up
all over the
yoga
place?
when I think about it. Sorry, Vlade?
I was like, you think it was like all over the place.
Yeah, at
with the show.
times, 110%. I think like they just when they commit to it, it's fantastic. I just wish they
Hmm.
would just do that because like they could make. I just think I just noticed it in particular the last episode that it was extremely all over the place. But this one and the ones
Hmm.
beforehand were not as bad.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
I
I
think maybe
don't
that
know.
last episode is because it flirted with something that most especially it's something we are very familiar with and we like a lot. Like I think if you
That's
told us
true.
that this was a 6 episode show of
Mm,
Kate Winslet versus Hugh Grant having incredible barbs at each other, we're like,
mm,
I'm locked in. That's my bag. So that last
mm.
episode kind of flirted with something that we particularly like, and we're like, and so to get it snatched away from us felt a bit kind of like painful and disheartening. So I understand why that's probably the one that we've all kind of like bucked up against, just because it's probably the one that is most unlike the rest of the show, but at the same time,
Yes. Yeah.
very much like something that
Yeah.
we really like. And when you put a character like
Yeah.
Hugh Grant doing a very good performance, we're like, oh, this I would not mind this show itself. So on Aisha's who's bitch point from earlier, I have tried to avoid like talking about this because I was worried that it's possible that it was like my male brain that was making me think this. But I've never been fully convinced that like Herbert was the prime manipulator of that relationship. And I wonder now, so I want to know, like, I guess now since we're penultimate episode, we can talk about it. Like, what are you guys' thoughts in this situation? Because I think for me, I think we see Elena kind of manipulating him more this episode and probably trying to get her way. What do you guys think of that relationship and the growth in the 6 months since we last saw them, since they first, I guess, had sex?
Herbert's
Lolly.
definitely Elena's bitch. I don't think it's yeah, she's his bitch. She has him attending couples dream therapy. Even the
That she's
therapist is in
clearly
her
manipulating,
bag.
right?
Yes.
Like she's the one, like she tells telling therapists what to say.
Sexy.
The
Okay, that
therapist
wasn't just in
literally
my head.
says, right, Elena? Like confirming that she's saying the right thing.
And it's so
She's
funny
her
because
bitch. He's her
I
bitch.
think the second time we see the therapy session, like Herbert is alone on the couch and it's like Elena and the therapist on the other side.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you couldn't be clearer that like this is such a lopsided power dynamic. Um yeah, okay. Aisha, thoughts on the relationship?
She's not wrong. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's actually really funny because I did think that the entire I thought at first, and then the first, I think it was the first thing that was like Kusu's bitch, and as it went on, I was like, but I do think that they have a symbiotic relationship in a way, and I realized that when she was talking to her father, for kind of like the final time, even though she didn't realize it would be the final time.
Hmm.
Although the final time should have been when he actually died, but whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. They have this like yeah, I don't know. They have this like symbiotic thing. And I also thought it was interesting when she hands over the baton to him, she talks about the supreme burden of national service or nationality
Hmm.
service or something like that.
But I don't even think
And
she
I thought
handed it
that
off to
was,
him, though. She
mm,
I don't think
couldn't
she was
do
going
it.
to.
She couldn't
Yeah.
do it.
yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a point where she makes a point about how she's empowered women or something,
Yeah.
like almost like she's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But I
And then
also don't
she
know what her
said,
plan was.
she
Yeah,
Like,
said
exactly.
like
That's
something
my thing.
this she said something that stood out to me though, because she kept saying there'll be a change soon, quite soon. Like
Mm.
that just makes me think she wasn't going to do it that night.
yeah, because I think her teleprompter had something like
Yeah,
immediately or
immediately.
right now or something
Mm.
like that. But she was like obviously hesitated.
Mm.
But even I'm trying to understand, like when she first brought up the idea, what was her plan? That like she would
That's,
give it to him
yeah.
and she could rule from behind him, essentially, maybe.
I
For
think
sure.
so.
And
I
then
think she just thought that it would be, yeah, it would be a facade. Mm.
what during the speech is like, no, I'd rather hold on to power and just take whatever comes.
Yeah. She couldn't say effective immediately, I'm handing over
Mhm.
power to the foundling. She couldn't do it.
Mm. But I just thought it was interesting, like talking about. I just thought it was really funny her being like supreme burden of.
Hmm.
It's just very like I don't know. It just made me laugh.
No, it was very funny. I just yeah. I mean, her relationship is very weird.
He's a complex character though.
Obviously,
She
And I
is.
realized that in this episode more so than ever. When she just in like
hmm.
Kate Winslet is doing a good job and like in her when she was speaking to the father again, I noticed it in her facial and also when she was on the phone to Nikki. Just
Hmm.
moments of like, emotion and confusion and conflict within herself and also her being a shitty human, like Lolade mentioned. All those things just bustling about within her, you know. I don't know.
Should we? You mentioned him. Should we talk about Nikki very quickly?
Yes,
Yeah.
So we found out that he tried to commit suicide, and he's
I
basically been sent to
know.
Switzerland to like
I know.
heal for his.
Yeah.
What was the fake illness he said he had? Oh,
Gout.
I can't
Okay,
remember.
now I want to talk about this
Gout.
Gout.
because that made me laugh so hard because gout is similar to dysentery, and it's
Yeah.
those two illnesses that are just not illnesses, and it's just something people say as it's just funny
You're
how
you're
often gout
offending the
and
gout
dysentery
community.
Yeah.
are mentioned. Okay, no, I mean people actually do have gout, but I mean in shows and like in like fiction, it's just funny how it's used.
Yeah.
And I was reading a book recently
It's also
and
a
they
very it's
actually
a
called it
funny
out.
sounding word. It's a funny
Yeah, it
sounding
is.
word. Like gout. I had gout. It's like okay, is this the
Yeah,
15th century? Were you drinking
exactly.
mead? Like this is like what do you mean you had gout?
So is
Um yeah,
dysentery, which is basically diarrhea. So
yeah, yeah. Also, funnier sounding than diarrhea. Diarrhea just sounds disgusting. Dysentery is like, I wonder what that is. It's like
I
you're
think
intrigued.
diarrhea sounds disgusting, but when you write diarrhea, it's a fun word.
Well, that's because I don't know how to spell it. And halfway through, you're always like, how many R's? Where does the H go? It's like, what am I doing here? So that's the
It
funny
has
experience
to,
for me,
it
right?
has to set itself apart some way since he has a lot of
Yeah.
haters.
Do you empathize with that?
I
Or
empathize with
actually,
people
you're
that
the
like to
you're the hater. You're the hater in
pave
the situation, I guess.
pave their own way. How am I the
Um,
hater? I didn't say I hated
you just hate
diarrhea.
on everything. We established this. We know this. Like, let's not relitigate this. You
This
just
is
hate
so
on stuff.
funny because it's so funny because how okay, I just want to just destabilize this logic of yours. If I'm the hater and you're the only one talking about me hating on everything, then who really is the hater here? Because this is so a narrative that
I
you're
am
the only
hating
one
on
pushing.
you.
You're the only one pushing
No,
this narrative.
because I'm the only one brave enough to say the truth. I'm the only one who like the
You
prophet is
guys.
victimized in his own community.
You
I'm like
guys are.
I will be I will stand up for the truth. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm dead, they'll be like, oh, he was a visionary. That's fine.
Dune
I'll take my
Messiah,
glory when I'm
Lady Jessica versus Listener Cape.
I was
um
wondering when you guys are gonna
When
tussle this episode.
when is that
Came in
Dune
later than
Messiah?
usual.
what does that mean, Leonard? Is that like a thing you have on your bingo card for like what why do
Yeah,
you have it scheduled?
yeah. It's usually at the beginning, but oof, this one came in later today.
Well, that's just because like I said, I started talking about dogs and stuff like that. And that just sets me up.
Like, what
Um,
is your issue with like? It's just let's not even.
should we talk
Let's,
about? We're going to wrap up very soon. I'm
yeah.
saving up. Clearly saving my most traumatic plot line for the end.
Hmm.
Uh,
Mm,
the coup, the holding company are like, we're not
I love
talking
a coup.
about it, but if we were talking about it, I just
Mm,
love shady men in the background who are bumbling and really don't know what they're doing. This is just like I just love those kind of people because they don't even do it eventually. Like in the end, they're like,
shady
oh, you know what, the
because you're
founding has good.
Pisces.
Oh my god,
Mm,
Good one.
mm,
no,
mm,
not hey, bloody your
mm,
father and brother are both Pisces. I don't understand when you by good one. I was just
mm.
cut this clip
Well,
and
you
send it
don't
to
know.
them.
You don't know what their moon and rising is, so they may be very different
Oh
to you.
my fucking god, what are we doing now? What is
Mm,
this? Ugh,
mm.
moon and rising. You don't know what my moon and rising are. What
I
the hell? I
can
can't even just
guess.
say
I
those
We
words.
can find out.
But we know you. We know you well. We know you well enough to know your character. So that's enough for me.
Ah,
Mm.
I didn't know I was dealing with
Do you want to talk about? Do
astrology
you want to talk
girlies.
about the bumbling men that you identify with again?
I never said I identify with them. I said I like them.
You just like
That's two
them.
different things.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't identify with them. Do you
Mm.
identify with every character you like?
No.
Um,
Holidays,
no, okay,
please.
well,
Sorry, she
Well,
took me out.
well,
okay, quickly. But in terms of the coup itself, I just wanted to highlight this because I only found out recently this was a real thing. So here,
Yeah.
I think Agnes mentions that they are waiting for the Barber of let me write this
yeah,
down. Sorry, the Barber of Seville, the opera to
yeah,
start playing on TV, which
yeah.
obviously signifies the coup. I didn't know this until I watched this season of For All Mankind earlier in the year. But apparently, there's like a thing in Russia during all their like revolutions. They play Swan Lake. So once you see Swan Lake on all the TV stations and all the radio stations, then clearly something is happening in Moscow.
That's
So
ghoulish as
when of it,
fuck.
That's insane.
yes.
Like, I'm
It
sorry.
So obviously
is.
here when the Barber of Seville starts playing on the TV, they're like, okay, it's done. We can't do anything at this point. The um the resistance is at the door. So I just found that because I
I
just found out about that recently.
I did a
Love that. I
deep
love that.
dive on like that opera,
Mm.
and like
Mm.
it's so. I think it's genius that they play that to signify a coup because
Tell us.
the opera is about the barber and someone not stealing, rescuing a lady from her captor.
Yes. I do
And it
Okay.
actually
just makes so
know
much
that story.
sense
Mm.
because I mean the what they call themselves, people from Westgate are essentially trying to
Mm.
rescue Middle Europe from the hands of Elena.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mm.
just
Oh,
thought that
okay.
was really smart.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really
Mm.
cool. Yeah.
Lola did coming in with the deep dives, with the knowledge.
So it's like, why you
I
guys are
have to
just
match you
bickering? I'm doing the
guys.
work. I'm out there
Literally,
doing the research,
Lola
10
Day
toes on the
is
ground.
mother airing us today. Like, she's
Um,
just like you little kids.
oh,
Aw.
another thing regarding the coup, I loved that because they were like, oh, the Westgaters have like seized control of all the national telecommunications and everything. So
Mhm.
like her speech is by Instagram Live. I found that
Yeah.
so funny.
Yes,
I,
no, that was amazing.
That was
That was so
and
funny.
you
good.
just see like the view count going up. I thought that was so
Yeah.
That was so
hilarious.
good. That was actually just amazing. I was just like, wow.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about Agnes.
Oh man.
Ugh. Um, I had to write this down because it was so funny when it happened. I was literally mid yawn when they shot Agnes, and I didn't finish the yawn. Like my mouth slammed shut mid yawn. It was like it was the opposite of like your mouth going agape. Like my mouth, I was yawning, and then the shut her, my mouth just shut. I did not finish the yawn. Up to now, I have an unfinished yawn in my body. It's just like I, I was like, why are we doing this? This woman is trying to save her son. She's
Man.
my favorite character. Why are we killing her now? I don't like. Why are we doing this? It's not nice. I don't like this.
The
Maisha,
gaslight
you liked it
Gus.
to talk about Agnes's death.
Well, well, obviously, death is really difficult, and it's hard. It's a
Wait,
hard
sorry. I
time.
love that you're now coming out. You have to be like make it clear that you're not on the side of death. I think you're
I,
fine. Listeners know you don't like
listen,
death in the real
listen. I
world.
don't know what these. I don't know what these humans, these
No one
bots,
thinks you're like pro death.
these
Okay,
bugs on
it's
Earth.
fine.
I don't know what they think, but I just want people to know it's a hard time. It was it's yeah.
Also, you know my
Mhm.
caption for this episode is gonna be like Aisha tells us why she's pro death.
Oh my god.
That's gonna be how we need to clickbait. We need to be a clickbaiting website.
You know
So that's
what?
fine.
Actually,
Sorry.
I can't lie to you. It wasn't a bad watch for me. I thought, wow, you did it. Well done.
Oh, like
Wow.
yeah, you're right. I'm impressed that they had the balls to do it, but I don't like it
Mhm.
Mm.
as an audience member because she's a
Mhm.
character that I liked a lot.
I
Like
didn't
imagine if
really
I found out
feel
Nikki
too
was dead.
much by her death, but I wasn't too attached to her as a character. If Nikki died, no,
Oh,
that's not on for me. Nikki's my
exactly.
boy.
It's the same thing. It's the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
thing.
I just think I just didn't have an emotional attachment to her, so I just thought for plot,
That's
this is
fair.
nice. So yeah,
Mhm.
I was worried about the son though
Uh,
the entire time.
yeah, that they forgot about.
Yeah.
And I was also like the fact that it was her brother remembered, and she's like, nah, fuck
Yeah, and
that.
she's like, we don't have time for that.
We're not going back.
When they
Like,
when that heli flew off without her.
Oof.
Oof. Nice.
wow, what does he say? He's like, she's not the chancellor. She's just a. Again, I should have written this down. I can't. I keep
Isn't she
forgetting.
just a woman or she's just
Yeah, he
a
says she's just a
person?
It's just a
woman.
something woman. Like I
Yeah.
think I feel like I had
Yeah.
a qualifier or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm intrigued to know because again, it's one of those things where the episode just ended. They are running away. If there's a time jump, for example, like where would they be? Would they be in hiding? Just to see what they have in store for the finale.
Probably.
Lottie, what are your thoughts on Agnes' death?
Agnes's
Oscar
death?
being left behind.
It really hit me. I was actually sad. Like when I saw that she got shot, I literally was like shock.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because of everything leading up to it. I think at the beginning of the episodes we see where Agnes comes in and Elena is like, "Oh, it's 6 already. You can have your 20 minutes."
20
So
minutes. Oh my
that
god.
That
means
was
for the
awful.
past
That was
6
awful.
I can't believe
months,
she hasn't poisoned. I can't believe she hasn't poisoned Elena in her sleep.
yeah, for the past 6 months Agnes has been seeing her kid alone for 20 minutes a day. That is wild. And it's especially sad considering the fact that I think Agnes had already decided that she was going to flee to France
The
with
next day,
Oscar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, oh, man, it hurt because that he's a kid. He's just a
Yeah, no.
kid. She was trying to save him. He was terrified. Like, what is going to happen to Oscar? Let's actually
I
think
don't
about that
know.
realistically.
I'm really
Elena is
stressed
like,
by that, to
forget
be
about
honest. So I
Oscar. We don't
don't.
have time. Like, you don't have time to go
I
back
actually don't care
for a
about Oscar.
child.
I just
My
realized
God,
I
like,
don't really
do you
care
know
about
what?
Oscar.
Do you know what? You are the problem. Okay, I've been
I
holding this in for too long.
no
You
words.
are the problem, and I
I
want
suddenly realized like I
everyone.
No
care about
words.
No, that's my final straw, Bankole. That's my
Mm-mm.
final straw. You honestly,
No.
I
you
just
are the problem,
realized like
and you are out here every day assassinating my character. Meanwhile, what have you admitted that you also hate children? You hate children and
Wow,
you hate
Becky.
dogs.
I
Wow,
know. I'm not saying he
it's
should die. I'm just as a
stop.
character. I just realized I don't. As Lorde was talking, I was like, "Oh, I actually don't care about this guy. I care about Agnes, and I care about Agnes having her sword." I was like, "I don't really care about this child."
This is
Huh. I was just
crazy.
like,
He's literally like
just an epiphany that landed on me. I was like,
the entire thing is like it's hinged like I can't believe you don't like all those scenes of him frantically running and even his scenes of like I used to be worried about him getting an attack like an epileptic attack in all those episodes
He's
beforehand. I
how could
hate
you not
watching him
feel
on
for
because
him?
it just
That
makes me
boy
so anxious.
was
"Wait,
sad
I
about
remember
the
that
park. He's a little
Aisha said,
child.
okay, but Aisha in episode 3 said she wished the kid died.
Yeah.
Let's calm down. Let's not make it seem like
She
I'm the
said
Okay, I'm
culprit
for
so
the
sorry.
plot.
for the plot."
I said for the plot, I wish he died. Also, I'm not gonna lie. If he died, then maybe that'd even have been a better life. What's his life gonna be now? Let's actually talk about
Yeah.
that. Like him
What
dying
if he
then would
becomes
have
like the
actually saved him a lot of
Westgate
strife.
champion? Okay, I'll meet you halfway, Aisha. In the caption, I'll put Aisha is pro why Aisha is pro death and why Bankole hates children. I'll like I'm nothing if not a generous editor.
So kind.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're
thank you. It's
so
like
kind.
thank you. Please say that louder for people at the back. Thank you.
Slave
Just gonna
driver.
have that on loop. Oof. Okay.
Yeah. It was
Yeah, Agnes.
it's
Yeah,
a lot.
that was.
I feel really bad for her because you just know she died thinking about
About his
Oscar.
son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just it's a kind of devastating way to go, kind of heartbreaking because she was going to make a move for it and like
Yeah.
escape and give her child a better life. And you just know she's thinking maybe I should have gone with the Americans when
When it
they
first
reach
came.
out.
Do you think the
Yeah,
Americans are
because
going
number one,
are going to make a comeback in the next episode?
I could not. I have no idea what's coming on in the
No
next episode. Like
freaking clue.
I can't even predict what they
And you
plan on
know
doing.
what? I love that. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Agnes, that's sad. Really sad. Yeah,
Mm.
gonna miss her
Is
next
it?
episode. It is sad. I am not pro-death,
Mm.
Just
like some
anti-children.
people.
Just
Eh,
anti-children.
let me know when you're 18.
Dead or
Call
alive.
me when you've grown up. Oh my god. Okay. I know. I think that's a good place to end. Any final thing you want to discuss that we haven't touched on?
I liked that the dreams are still the thing that has been consistent from the first episode.
Hmm.
Uh,
You're right. But now they've changed, I guess,
yeah,
structure and theme.
yeah. I thought it was very interesting that what's his name, Herbert, is saying that Elena is not helping him in the dream,
Mm-hmm.
and the therapist is trying to say you are Elena in your dream.
You
He's
trust
like,
Elena to,
no.
or Elena trusts you to help yourself.
Yes. Yeah, I
There
like.
was I think it was the first. I think it was the first session they had, and she's like, "Well, Elena isn't scared in the dream, right?" And he's like, "No, she's terrified." She's like, "Uh huh. Well, that could also be correct because you can see her trying to like swivel on her feet and like, oh, they did not pay her enough money for whatever she has to
Do
do."
you think she's being held
Um,
hostage?
I mean, yes, she can't leave the
Yeah,
palace, so
Yeah.
110%.
no one can leave the
110%.
palace. So
When he
uh,
saw the
you can even
doctor's
say how
little
fear went.
camping bed. Wow.
Oh.
And then all the like, I think was that like the head? Not it wasn't chef. It was like I guess I don't know head of kitchen or whatever. The doctor was already got his plan with the French.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Hopefully, he
so
made it
that
out
isn't the
before
doctor,
they
so
saw
that
to
is the
the. Okay,
chef. I was confused as to who he was, to be honest.
yeah. Hmm.
Um,
Um. Yeah. See what happens in the final episode. This is this has been a
I'm really
fun ride.
liking the evolution of Elena and her character and getting to know her and, just it's nice. I think she's building quite nice. I feel like I have a grip on who she is now after this
Mhm.
episode.
A delusional basket
I
case.
mean, I think this 6 months, she definitely became like her full dictatorial self. Like
Hmm.
she's
She
drinking
realized her
champagne at
full
like 10 a.m. in the
potential.
morning.
Don't
Yeah,
let them
she's like
tell you you can't
she
do it. Your potential is there to
she
be
has a
taken.
she has a strongman arm candy. Like yeah, she's full on dictator boss bitch. Okay, so I think that was a good place to end it before we come back next week talk about the finale. So that's
Yeah.
been
Okay.
fun. Thank you very
Come,
much,
all
Aisha and
ye
Olade.
faithful,
Thank.
joyful
Oh,
and triumphant.
why is that still in your head? Thank you to our listeners who keep coming back for our thoughts on this wacky show. Yeah, okay. Any final thoughts, guys, before I end the episode? Aisha, do you want to sing one more time?
No, that's
Okay,
it.
that's perfect.
It's
Okay, thank
perfect.
you. Thank you very much for listening. Thank guys, check out everything else going on, other shows. Watch other there's lots of shows going on right now. There's no real like big water cooler show, I think, right now. Maybe
What
Sugar,
about Three
but at
Body?
least
No.
uh, well, I mean, at the time of recording, I don't think it's like when I say water cooler, I mean like Succession level. Like everybody, like to be fair, there's not really been a water cooler show for like 7 years, but you get what I mean. That's what people are talking about. Maybe till House of Dragon returns in June. But
Oof.
for now,
Woo!
there are lots of good shows going on, just on all on different platforms,
Shogun.
and
That's
nobody's.
such a good show. Sorry,
Yeah, I think
just
Shogun is
want to
probably the closest we have right now to like
clear that out.
a what they
Yeah.
call it, the cultural consensus. And but yeah, okay, guys, thank you very much for listening. Join us next week when I'll be joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.